In this video, we're going to cover the 3 most important rules that you have to follow before you plant your first seed when growing food in something like a small space, namely an apartment balcony. And we recently asked the community for feedback in growing in a small space, and we received over 1,000 emails with extremely useful information. In this video series, we'll take all of that information and distill it down into actionable steps that you can follow, making it easy for you. This video series will take you step by step, guiding you through everything you need to know to successfully produce nutrient-dense food to supplement your diet. Now, this first video is really a high-level overview of the considerations that you have to make before you start planting. Please note that most of what we'll explain in this video are concepts that you at least need to be aware of, which we'll explain in greater detail in breakout videos. So don't feel overwhelmed by this video. Instead, consider these items that we're about to outline. There is one call to action toward the end of the video that will be your first task, so definitely stick around until then. Over the next several videos, we're going to set up 3 different growing areas here on my patio to show you ways of gardening in each area that have been proven to work on apartment balconies. With this information, you're going to be able to choose what methods and plants will work best with your specific area. I would also encourage you to start here, as these factors will determine what you grow on apartment balconies or small spaces. So let's jump into the first factors. Download our small space high yield gardening guide by clicking on the link in the description and comments section below. Enjoy the video. Cautions and considerations. Weight. 1 cubic foot of dirt can weigh between 7 and 110 pounds. Potting soil tends to be lighter, but a 5-gallon bucket can hold 0.70 cubic feet of soil. That can easily make it 60 or so pounds. Most U.S. constructed balconies can only support 50 to 100 pounds per square foot, and I would be super conservative here when it comes to safety. So calculate the square footage on your area by multiplying your length by width and then multiplying by 50. That will give you the most weight your balcony can likely support. Realize you, the gardener, also have weight. Realize that when you add water, you're adding 8.34 pounds per gallon. Finally, realize that heavy containers could concentrate the weight in one specific area. Multiply that number of gallons by 8.3 to determine the total water weight in that setup. If you go the hydroponic route, which we'll cover in the future, how many gallons are in your water reserves? A 55-gallon drum of water, for instance, is not a good idea, as it will focus 459 or more pounds in just about 4 square feet of space. Finally, your plants will have weight as well. Calculate a pound or more for each plant. Stay within the weight capacity of your area. HOA landlord. Your homeowners association or landlord may be the most significant determinant of what, if anything, you can grow. Where will all that dirty runoff water flow if your pots have to drain? On your neighbors below? You don't want it staining the side of your building. Does your HOA allow plants on balconies or patios? If so, what are the rules for that? HOA gardening policies can limit what you can grow to a narrowly ranged plant palette. It may prohibit attaching anything, including gardens and planters, to railings. Boards can adopt reasonable rules to protect decks from damage, including limits on the size and number of potted plants and prohibitions against planters. Even though condominium balconies are for the exclusive use of the unit to which they are attached, they are still considered common area structures. If you live in too restrictive of circumstances, you may need to rein your grand plans in and look at growing indoors and around windows, supplementing with grow lights, fans, or grow tents, which we'll cover in future videos. Grow area. Choosing the correct plants for your site and allowing them the proper space above and below ground and away from each other is a key to a successful home garden. Some plants need to be separated off on their own to achieve maximum maturity and growth. Other plants, like corn, need to be planted relatively close to each other to allow cross-pollination. Plant selection will be a future video. Wind. Airflow is often overlooked and doesn't factor into many people's plants beyond water, sun, and soil, but most every plant requires and thrives from gentle airflow. Breezes allow the plant to access the CO2 they need to grow and can carry pollen, which is critical to fruit setting. You may think that you have good airflow in your balcony, but you should assess this before planting anything. The easiest way to measure this is with an incense stick or candle. If the smoke travels mostly straight up, or the candle flame doesn't flicker much, you don't have very good circulation of air. You may need to add a small fan at certain hours to keep a nice airflow around your plants. Conversely, if the wind is too strong, try and block it with heavier pots, bamboo screens, or sunshades. You will also want to ensure that your planting containers are not top-heavy, but they have most of their weight at their base. Insects, pests, and animals. You must also consider what insects, pests, and animals can access your growing area. My property buttresses up against a wild area, so I know animals like mice, rats, squirrels, and rabbits, they may be a problem. Because of the harsh and dry desert climate, insects are less of a problem. They're still a problem, but not as much as a humid and wet environment. Companion planting and companion animals are suitable methods of insect, pest, and animal abatement. If you're growing berries or sunflowers, birds will be pests. Most other plants, though, and the birds will eat caterpillars and insects that would damage your plants. Some plants will attract rodents. Some rodents will attract birds of prey. Assess what you can get into or around your growing space. Avoid poisons because of the damage they do up and down the ecosystem, and favor old-school traps where possible. We're going to be doing a whole video on these issues with rodents later in this series, but the critters unique to your environment are something that you should consider now. If you're on the 40th floor of a high-rise, there's not much that will make its way up to you in the form of insects or snails, but you will still need to consider what you bring into your environment. It's easy to bring 1,000,000 insect eggs on a pound of dirt. Ridding yourself of an infestation might be more challenging than merely preventing one. Soil and grow medium. If weight is a serious factor of your location, you need to look at a self-wicking type of garden, hydroponic setup, or some other type of system where a void is created in the growing area, which still allows for adequate root growth of the plant but significantly decreases the weight. Dirt is not soil, as the soil is a living thing and dirt is typically void of good organic material. If you were to use perlite or coconut fiber, you would have to provide supplemental nutrients, but your weight would be very low. If you decide to grow hydroponically, you'll need coconut fiber plugs or clay pebbles for roots to take hold. Remember, all these do have weight considerations. Whatever medium that you use, consider a rapid test soil test kit to understand the nutrient profile of your grow medium. This will provide you with your soil's pH, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium levels. Certain plants will favor certain types of soil. We're going to be vermicomposting, composting, and looking at other soil amendments that can be purchased and made in a future video. For now, you need to understand the types of grow medium you plan to use and source it. For most, the preferred method is commercially purchased potting soil mix in bags. This can easily be supplemented with general multi-purpose fertilizer, compost, or worm castings. I'm going to have a combination of different grow mediums in my areas to demonstrate the fullest range that you have available to you. Sun. This is the part of the video where you can take an actionable step. In this segment, we're going to map out where the sun directly hits your patio at different times of day. Based on where the sun hits directly, we'll determine which plants to put in what areas. It's important to note that with apartments, you may not get direct sunlight, and that's okay. There's plenty of plants that can grow without direct sunlight, and we'll cover that in future videos. For those that do get direct sunlight during the day, here's what we'll do. We want to measure the time at which direct sunlight hits different sections of the grow area. For example, if you plant a full sun vegetable like a tomato or pepper, but don't get full sun during the day, you will need to supplement the natural light. If you get no sun but plant kale or asparagus, you will still get high yields despite your sunlight disadvantage. First, we must determine where the sun hits our patio at different times throughout the day. We will call this a sun map. Let me show you how to create a sun map. Start by doing this. Measure out your grow area and draw it on paper. As you can see, the area I measured is 7 feet by 10 feet deep. Print out 4 pieces of paper with this diagram. Next, we'll track the position of the sun over your grow area by the time of day. So what I want to do is track where the sun is at least 3 different times of the day. I chose increments at 9 a.m., noon, and 3 p.m., representing morning, afternoon, and early evening. Label the top of each sun map with the time. At 9 a.m., you'll want to denote the approximate location of the sun relative to your grow area. To do this, mark its location on your sketch. Then, using a highlighter, highlight using a yellow marker areas where the sun is directly hitting your balcony and use the orange highlighter to show areas that are getting indirect sun. Use a pencil, pen, or brown marker to denote full shade or dark areas. Repeat this on the second map at 12 and the third map at 3. The next step of this process is to compile this information on your fourth and final sun path map. If 2 of your maps have a yellow highlighted section, highlight this section in yellow on your fourth compiled map. This is your full sun area, which has 6 or more hours of direct sun. Mark areas that have both partial light and some full sun in orange. The orange areas are your partial sun areas, which will receive approximately 4 to 6 hours of direct sunlight, and those gray or brown areas are areas of no direct sunlight to less than 4 hours of it. You can still grow things in full shade areas, but you might need to supplement it with light. This map will inform your decisions on where grow lights may be needed and for how long they should be lit. The amount of sunlight you will get will vary by season. For example, in the winter, the sun will be lower on the horizon. In the summer, it might be higher overhead and for longer. Each apartment balcony will have different considerations based on season. You may need to move plants in the summer closer to the front of your balcony as the sun will be high overhead. In the winter, plants in the back of your patio will get more sunlight as the sun will be lower on the horizon. So move your plants accordingly to ensure they get sun or shade that they need. In future videos, we're going to discuss in more detail what plants do well with full sun and which do better in shade. This will impact where you place your plants. In the following video of this series, I will show you what I choose to grow, where, and why. And then we're going to start building out the systems, containers, and structures that we need to outfit these three sections. As we explore the different methods, you can make any modifications to your particular setup. And you may find that a side or a back wall, like what I have here is behind me, is perfect for something like vertical hanging gardening. You may decide that you only truly have room for a grow tower, and you might be able to use railings or large pots. As you watch each video in this series, think about the practicality of each plant and the method that we cover. Then you can build along with us the systems that are going to work best for you and your living space. Now, first, complete the sun map exercise which we described earlier in the video, and then join us for the video in the next of this series, which will take things a step further. Thanks for growing with us, and as always, stay safe out there.